Good morning this Thursday, the 10th of August. I'm Grady Wolf, a market analyst with Bell Direct. Wall Street closed lower again on Wednesday as investors await key inflation data out of the US later this week to gauge an insight into whether inflation is cooling or remains sticky, which will give a hint as to the next rate move out of the Federal Reserve. The Dow Jones Industrials Index closed 0.54% lower, the S&P 500 fell 0.7%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq lost 1.17%. The US inflation reading for July is out on Thursday US time, with economists expecting inflation to rise 3.3% in July from a 3% rise in June, which would indicate inflation remains sticky in the world's largest economy. Penn Entertainment soared 9.1% in the US on Wednesday after the casino giant said it's launching an online sportsbook with ESPN called ESPN Bet. Roblox, on the other hand, tanked 22% after missing Wall Street expectations in the second quarter results. Over in Europe, markets recovered from Tuesday's sell-off to close higher on Wednesday as investors digested China's disinflation or deflation data and Italy's weakening of the surprise windfall tax on banks announced earlier this week. Italy's finance ministry announced late on Tuesday that the tax on net interest income would be capped at 0.1% of risk-weighted assets, 1/5 of the level that Citi had estimated it could reach, according to CNBC. The stock 600 closed 0.4% higher, Germany's DAX added 0.5%, the French CAC rose 0.72%, and in the UK, the FTSE 100 climbed 0.8%. Locally on Wednesday, the key index, or the ASX, rose 0.37%, led by financial stocks jumping 1.21% on the back of CBA releasing very strong FY23 results. Healthcare stocks underperformed the market on Wednesday, with the sector closing down 0.9%, while tech stocks continue to rally, up 0.87% at the closing bell. CBA's results were the highlight of Wednesday's trading session, with the big bank announcing a record cash profit of $10.16 billion, boosted by higher interest rates. Net interest margin came in up 17 basis points on FY22 to 2.07%, and dividends per share for FY23 were $4.50, up 17% on FY22. Investors responded positively to the results out of CBA, with the share price rising 2.6% on Wednesday. Funeral firm InvoCare also jumped 6% on Wednesday after the company entered into a scheme of arrangement with TPG Capital to be acquired in a deal worth $1.83 billion. On the economic front, China's annual inflation rate came in at a reading of minus 0.3% year on year in July, which is the first decrease since February 2021. Combining this data with Chinese PPI coming in recently at minus 4.4%, a 10th straight month that prices have been negative, indicates the Chinese economy is well and truly in deflation mode, and more stimulus out of the Chinese government is required to kickstart the economy back into growth mode. On the commodities front this morning, oil is trading 1.63% higher at $84.30 a barrel. Gold is down 0.5% at $1,915 an ounce, and iron ore is up 1.44% at $105.5 a tonne. One Aussie dollar is buying 65 US cents, 93.82 Japanese yen, 51.27 British pence, and 1 New Zealand dollar and 8 cents. Now, ahead of the local trading session here in Australia, the SPI futures are expecting the ASX to open Thursday's session 0.05% in the green. And now let's dive into some trading ideas for your consideration today. Bell Potter has maintained a hold rating on A2 Milk Company whilst decreasing the 12-month price target on the dairy company from $5.95 to $5.70 ahead of the release of the company's FY23 results and on the back of assessing key monthly takeaways that monitor A2's performance. These data points include Australian exports to China remaining weak, China infant milk formula imports falling 9% year on year, and cost of goods sold continuing to fall, with the average price down 22% year on year in the second half of FY23. And Trading Central has identified a bullish signal on Evolution Mining following the formation of a pattern over a period of 83 days, which is roughly the same amount of time the share price may rise from the close of $3.75 to the range of $4.40 to $4.55, according to standard principles of technical analysis. And that's all we have time for today. Have a terrific Thursday and happy investing.